I brought my finger. I don't think you.
Welcome to the Seeds Storyteller Series with two of my most beloved elders, mentors, soul sisters in life, Momma Sue and Nana Carol. I never call her Carol, but yes.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome. So glad for this day to finally be here. We've been looking forward to this, haven't we?
We have
yes,
been. We consider it a privilege that you even want us here.
Yes. So for those that don't know, Momma Sue is my beloved mother-in-law. Nana is my beloved grandmother-in-law. And the two of them, I asked to join us and have a 45-minute conversation with us to share what it is that is bringing them hope, that is filling their hearts with love and with peace amidst the everyday struggles of life, which are always with us, but especially within the realities of the coronavirus global pandemic and the extra challenging days that many of us are facing right now. And I wanted y'all to be able to hear and see their faces, their smiles, their hearts of hope. And I believe it's going to encourage and inspire you as you listen. So thank you for joining us, y'all. Sue and Nana, thank you for joining us. This is so fun.
Thank you.
And what we're going to do is we're going to have some time to chat as the three of us. And please keep any comments, any questions you have going in the comments below live or on the replay, because we will be a part of this conversation for as long as we can stretch it out, because I believe this is a conversation that really will lighten our loads and connect us and bring some feel-good inspiration to our lives. So we thought, why not start with some feel-good inspiration, with some laughter, some levity, which I think is such a grace in these days. So barring any more technical troubles, which we've had a few, but they are not going to impact this anymore, I'm going to play a clip of the famous Miss Carol on the Family Feud, who the year that our family went to the Family Feud, we heard that she was the most searched Family Feud contestant that year. So, you know, if you want her autograph. So bear with me as I share my screen and get ready to laugh.
Give me Janet, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Carol. Ladies?
Yeah.
Got the top 5 answers on the board.
Okay.
Name a place where you see happy wives with their unhappy husbands.
At a jewelry store.
At a jewelry store.
Okay,
She got it. Nailed it.
What do you think of that? We'll get you.
We'll get
That's
it.
okay. Good luck then. Thank you. We're going to play.
All right. We go. That's the first time ever in the history of this game somebody wandered around and the other person went, good luck, honey.
Okay, hang on, and we will, I hope, have some time to, hang on, oh my, listen to another awesome clip, one of our family's favorites, about the Easter bunny and Easter candy. Okay, so Sue and Nana, share with us, just for fun, why our family chose to go on Family Feud and how long of a bucket list dream that was for y'all, especially for you, Nana. Yes?
Well, do you know, the Family Feud that I grew up with was Dickie Dawson, Richard.
Dick Dawson, yes.
And so it was just kind of one of those things. And then we heard that they were going to come to Denver and get some people out of here to go back. I said, Susie, what do you think of that? And she said, oh, we'll give it a try, Mom. And I said, okay, that's great. And here
And
We-
they fell in love with the two of y'all. I mean, so Nana, how old are you? This is something that is public knowledge, and I know you're happy to share. So Nana, how old are you?
I'm 92 going on 93.
And so, do you remember what Steve Harvey said to you about how much he loved you? Do you remember the quote that was our family's favorite about you being his most favorite contestant of all time?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's had a lot of different ones now.
He's had just a few. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So tell us a little bit, y'all. So you guys are sitting here side by side in your beautiful office that you guys are roommates in this
Right. Yep.
in this home. Yes. Mother-daughter roommates
Right.
in the best bed and breakfast in the city, in my opinion. Not a literal bed and breakfast, but that's how a person feels when they go in your house. So why are you guys roommates? What is it like in these days of quarantine to be roommates? Share a little bit of your story.
Well, you know, I fell and broke my hip and leg. And coming home from the, what do you call those places?
Rehab places.
Rehab. Coming home from the rehab, Susan and I were having a cup of coffee, and I said, baby, what can I do to help you?
Mm.
And she said, Mom, I want you to sell your place and all your junk, quote unquote,
I didn't say junk.
all your things, and come and live with me here. I said, really, Susie? And she said, I think it would be best for both of us. And so we both had a little cry on that. And that's our thing, isn't it, Mom?
You laugh and cry a lot together, both.
Yeah, we really do.
Yes. And that was, Nana, was that 5 years ago? Is that
Yes.
what you just said, Sue? Okay.
Yes. 5 years ago.
Which, by the way, the bone,
Yes.
Nana, the bone you broke was your femur, yes?
Correct.
Yes.
So like the most painful bone I hear a person can break. So you are one tough cookie.
Yeah, this is true. I really am. We had, and he's dear. You would love him. We had my cardiologist on the phone yesterday for 45 minutes. Anyway, and we were telling him about how he wanted to know what had happened and so forth. And he was not notified of the fall that I had and broke 5 ribs. And he said, I can't believe you've been through all that. And I said, I know.
Yeah, that fall was last year. So we've had a few tumbles. But
Yeah.
happily you have the best stay-at-home nurse roommate on the planet. So you guys, I just want to, because I know your story and I know what has brought you together and the love that you guys share as mother-daughter, but also with a sense of sisterhood and just such great love. Comes from tragedy. Both of your husbands died within about 6 months of each other. So will you share, just because, how you guys live your life with hope and with a lot of laughter and a lot of crying, because you have big hearts. Will you talk a little bit, share with, because your men are with us in spirit. We were talking about that before. Nana said they have front row seats on this conversation, is how she pictured it. So will you share a little bit about your husbands and your love for each of them, and then how that has brought you guys together, you know, sitting as roommates now. Will you share a little bit about your loves?
Well, I had my dad and my mom were married for 63 years, and Mike and I, my husband, were married for 43 years, and my husband died 6 months before my dad did, and my dad growing up was my very best friend, and I'm an only child, and so I feel a tremendous responsibility toward my parents, as a lot of only children do. And so it was difficult because when my husband was ill, my mom was dealing with my dad being ill at the same time. So we really didn't get to connect much because we were both home being caregivers to our spouses.
Yeah.
But we had both of us, and I think I learned a lot about marriage and cherishing my husband through witnessing my parents and how my mother cared for my father and how my dad cherished her. And I married a man that I felt really kind of exemplified my dad. And it was truly, I mean, we talk about our marriages a lot because we had great marriages and felt always loved and cherished. And then after they were gone, it's interesting because faith is a big part of our life and had not always been, but I'm going to be celebrating 46 years of becoming a Christ follower. And so but I always grew up in a home that acknowledged God and Christ. And then my parents were later in their life becoming a Christ follower also. And so that brought us together, and it also brought us to the point where we knew without our husbands, we had God our Father, who has promised to be a husband to us and a father to the fatherless. And so that has been the great hope that we have had getting through and we are a part of a widows group. There's 52 widows, and we have a smaller group of 9 of us that are very close. And a lot of those women are really suffering with loneliness. And Mom and I have talked in this pandemic that we're in, our lifestyle has not changed a whole lot.
Right.
Because we have each other.
Yeah.
And that is a great gift.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a great gift. And I believe God allowed us to be together during this time. And He is strengthening us every day, just by the hope that we have in Him. And so what about you? What do you think? Your story.
You said it really good.
Oh.
So
And
Nana,
if they're hearing that, Sarah, on
It's
the
okay.
microphone, it's my email coming in. Sorry.
It's the computer exclamation point to your
Yes,
story.
there
No
you go.
problem. So
Okay.
Nana, your
Oh.
husband, you called him Junie.
Junie.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Tell us a story about Junie, about what you loved about him.
Oh gosh, he was really cool. My sister-in-law came and stayed with us. She lived in Cheyenne, but she just came and stayed with us for a little bit. And she was sitting in the chair, and Junie called me for a date, and I had a date already. And she said, "You should go out with him." And I said, "Oh, he's too nice." And I wasn't a bad boy girl, but I thought, oh, brother. And so then I finally accepted a date on New Year's Eve, and he was a fine gentleman. My folks knew him as a little boy, and he used to wear long stockings with a panty waist. And Papa, my dad said, you know, I never thought that Ziegler kid would ever grow up because he was so
Oh my
big.
gosh.
Oh, we're
Oh my
crazy.
gosh,
But
Nina. And
anyway.
your love story, your love is one of my favorite love stories of
Well,
all time. You
dear,
guys just loved
we liked each other,
each other.
and he loved
So,
this child. She has been a gift to us.
yeah, she
She
has.
really has. And
Y'all have to know, this is a fun story about my dad and mom. My mom had dressed my dad for 63 years.
Yes.
My dad never, ever picked out his own clothes. She would lay them out in the bed, and I don't
And
think-
most often matching hers.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
So
so
they had to
stripes.
match.
Yes, there would be some very intentional matching of the clothing. Yes.
And I was visiting one day, and Dad couldn't get some shoes on, that his feet were kind of bothering him, and he had neuropathy in his feet, and his feet were kind of bothering him. And I said to Mom, I said, doesn't he have some other shoes that he could? Oh, he does, but they wouldn't match. And so he squeezed his feet
Oh
into
my
the styling
gosh.
shoes.
Oh my gosh.
And so anyway, yeah, those are kind of fun memories of her caring for him.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, listen, I want you, Sue, you mentioned this a little bit, but your community of these widows, these women who have this shared loss in their lives of their husbands, is such a big part of your life. And I think such a picture of how we are not meant to go it alone, especially in the really hard moments and the losses and the heartbreaks. So will you talk a little bit about how that community has been it's really a fabric, it's a thread of the fabric of your life now, and kind of how y'all are going through these days of quarantine together, and creatively so. And will you talk a little bit about this beloved sisterhood?
Well, it's amazing because it's been a part of my life for 9 years, and it started 9 years ago. And when I first went to this group, I went twice before I decided to go back, because I didn't like it, and I thought it was kind of depressing, and I thought, oh my goodness, I just don't want to sit around and talk about, our spouse is dying and whatever. And I came home and I told Mom, I said, I just don't think this group is for me. But as I started praying about it, God really nudged me and said, why don't you go back to the group and see what you can do for someone else? And because I was thinking they were going to fix me, that they were going to fix my loneliness. They were going to fix my sadness in losing Mike. They were going to do all of that. And they were there for the same reason I was. Mm-hmm. And when I prayed about that, if you can go back and you offer something, because the Lord tells us when we go through difficulties, he will use it for us to comfort someone else. And when I went back with that attitude, well, I'm here 9 years later. And at that time, when I first went, there were 6 women. And there's only one of those ladies that is still in the group along with me. And it has grown to 52 ladies. And we are from all walks of life, all denominations of churches. Some are non-church. It doesn't matter. You can come. And what we do is I usually try to design a program that women can benefit from, whether it's, just sometimes financial advisors, sometimes attorneys, sometimes people telling us how to be safe, different kinds of programs once a month. And then we implemented desiring that we needed to laugh again, and we needed
Yeah.
to just talk about regular things, what we call a game night. And so every other week we meet at someone's home and we have fellowship with food, and we play silly board games and card games. And we usually have 24 women at those things where they can laugh. And one lady shared with me, she came up to me after a meeting and she said, you know, Sue, I never thought I'd laugh again. And she said, I needed this so badly. So it is being able to give women who have, most of them have had fairly good marriages, and the emptiness they feel when that spouse is gone is incredible. And so it has given them a place. So I try to keep in contact with them at least every other week, and try to write notes and try to talk to them on the phone or meet with them. I have a co-director that helps me with that. And so that's what we do, staying connected. And we have, in our smaller group, we have done Zoom, and that has been helpful. It's not the same as tangibly hugging one another.
Yeah.
But, we're thankful for technology that we can keep connected that way. So,
well, and wasn't there a story of one of the women in your group that drove outside your house and started singing to you, or was that a friend outside of that group?
Oh, this has been a fun thing.
Will you share that? I think it's so
one
cool.
of our ladies, I got a text, and she said, we are praying blessings for you. We're blessing your house, and we're singing. And can you hear us? And so I texted her back and I said, where are you? And so she said, I'm here. And I thought, well, they're not supposed to be here. So we opened up the front door. They're in the street in their car, she and her friend. Her friend was visiting from Phoenix, Arizona, and they are singing hymns and praises. And so Mom and I get Mom up, and we're standing in the doorway, and they're singing their hearts out. And it was delightful. It was just, and a couple of weeks later, I go to my door, and she had left a plant and a little note just wishing Mother and I happy Easter. So it's those things that connect, those little silly things that you don't think mean very much, but they mean a lot. But I loved that they were singing in the street in the neighborhood, and I loved that. And we were keeping our social distancing. But
I know, right? Right. Well, you brought up Easter. Let's watch one more clip.
Okay, good.
From the Family Feud, from the infamous viral Miss Carol.
Hey, come on.
Okay.
Only one strike. If the Easter Bunny pooped candy, what specific candy would he poop?
Raisinets.
The visual, though. Raisinets. Well, look who we back to. My favorite player. Miss Carol, if the Easter Bunny pooped candy, what specific candy would he poop?
Penny Tootsie Rolls with the paper off.
But with the paper off, though. Tootsie Rolls with the paper.
Oh my gosh. Hang on, let me make sure that okay, yes, it's not playing anymore. All right. So, Nana, I can't even tell you. I think, it is coming back. Hang on. Sorry. Here we go. Close our Family Feud window. Nana, I have seen that probably 100 times, and it just makes me laugh every single time. You bring who you are, brings so much joy to so many people. And I
Thank
got to
you, Sarah.
witness Steve Harvey, you know, this incredibly big personality himself, just fall in love with your heart, the way that you have grown into this 92 years with such joy and just such grace. And I mean, it was like he just wanted to get through all of us to get back to you so he could keep talking to you.
Right.
Oh,
That's right.
honey.
Oh, Nana, you are such a gift. Such a gift. So, Nana, will you talk to us a little bit about how, because I know you and Sue together have some very special ways you get through your days, both in a day of quarantine and then just in everyday life. What are some of the things that you love to do that help to fuel you and give you this hope and this joyful heart, even in hard days?
Well,
What?
you know, I get to sleep as long as I want to. And baby gets up and gets her little stuff done. But do you know what? We have a great life. We do. And it isn't that we don't miss the guys. We do. But this little girl, she's wonderful, Sarah.
You're talking
And
about your daughter, right?
I'm-
This little girl.
The 72-year-old.
72 little girl.
Well, she is.
She
But
is.
we get up, have breakfast, and we're really fond of Price is Right. That's one of our faves.
Okay, wait. I want people to understand when you say we have breakfast. I know the cozy breakfast. You're generally sitting in the coziest overstuffed chair that has ever been made. And
Love that.
most days, isn't your breakfast delivered on a TV tray?
Yes, it is by my precious daughter. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
So you get your breakfast delivered,
Yes.
and then you start Price is Right
Yes.
while you're having breakfast. Okay, and then what?
Okay. We love that.
Yeah.
And then if Suze has something that is real pressing, she goes ahead and does it. And at 4:30, that's the time our games start.
No, we have devotions before then.
Oh, yeah, probably.
We'll tell her.
Okay, well, if we have to get the groceries or any little thing, we get out and get it.
No, devotions. We have after
Oh,
breakfast.
yeah.
After
Our
breakfast.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have our devotions after breakfast. And it's
And you read
it's
a little
amazing.
something. Yeah, and Sue leads those normally, right?
Yes. And do you know, it's amazing if there's something touching our heart. It's like God knows. Let's give these girls a boost. So anyway, then we play games until 7:00, and then we have dinner. And we have check and
Which is a card game.
card game. And we have Skippo.
Cards.
We have,
Rummikub.
what's that crazy one?
Sequence.
Sequence.
Rummikub.
And Rummikub. And we get all of those in before
Every
we
day.
have our dinner.
And then
And
okay,
she
so you play.
wins every one.
I know she's a gamer. That's Sue.
She is a gamer. And I think, I asked her, I said, does it hurt your feelings that I don't win? She said, no.
No, I'm fine with it.
That's what the game is.
So when my boy Micah, he's 11, when he goes to, which obviously hasn't happened now for some time because we're all in quarantine separately, we are not going to expose our Nana or Momma Sue to anything. So before quarantine, when he would go, Sue is like she's the best camp counselor around, and so she would say like, Micah, do you want to go to the movies or do you want to go? And he would say, no, I just want to sit. So he just slid right in. There's a lot of snacks, there's a lot of game shows, and then there's a lot of games and a lot of cozy PJ comfy attire.
Right.
And he will do that for 3 days straight and not ever want to leave the house.
I know, bless his
And we
heart.
love that. We miss him. We want
I
him
know
here.
he misses you too. Well, Sue, will you talk a little bit, because as we kind of begin to wrap up, I love how your days are so punctuated by this time of being together and just loving and caring and serving each other and connecting with your friends. I know you are on the phone a lot, just having conversations and loving people and being loved by people. And then this kind of soul care, your devotions. Will you talk with people that don't know what devotions are, kind of what soul care is like for you in your home, and how you kind of lead that in your house, and and is it different during quarantine at all, or is it the same?
It actually has not been any different during quarantine. What we love devotional time, and that's just a time that we spend, and it can vary from time to time, but it's usually at least a half hour, sometimes longer, depending if we talk about something. But our favorite book is the Bible, and we feel it's really our guide to wisdom and to hope and to the joy that we have in our life. And so we read from there. There's wonderful authors and there's wonderful writers that have been inspired, that we gain knowledge from also. But God's word is the most important to us, and it is living and active. I know that in my own life. And so we usually we start our day with that. And I had made years ago, that at night we like to read. At night we like to read books, and various kind of books, novels and fiction, nonfiction, whatever. But I had heard about a woman one time that talked about that she would not read anything before she read God's word. And that really stuck with me, to show the priority of that in my life. And so we end up having a little devotional at night before we go to bed, while we're in bed, and pray before we go to bed. And so that is what fuels us. And it is the living word. It's Jesus Christ. And we've celebrated as Christ followers, we have celebrated Easter several days ago, and by Christ's resurrection, that has given us living hope, that this life, and even though we love this life and we love being with family, but this isn't all there is. It can be gone in a blink of an eye, and we've experienced that with losses of loved ones. But the hope we have is that this isn't all there is. I have just read a wonderful book that Franklin Graham, who, and some people don't know, but Billy Graham was a famous evangelist. And my husband and I had an opportunity to actually work with Billy Graham in one of his crusades years and years ago here in Denver. And he always spoke truth, and that is something that I want to do. When I speak, I want to speak truth. And he made a statement saying that, when I die, don't say I'm dead, because I'm alive. I just have a different address. And so he's talking about heaven, and he's talking about eternity. So when we go through this pandemic and how terrible it is, and none of us have ever been through like this. My husband and I were in DC during 9/11, and that was an interesting time then, but this is not even like that, because it has affected the world. And but I want people to know that even in the trials, even in the tribulations, that God is with us, He has promised that he is our strength and our refuge, very present in this time of difficulty. So I think I mentioned to you, Sarah, that I have read a wonderful book called Anxious for Nothing just recently, and it was written about 2 years ago before any of this stuff happened. And the author is Max Lucado. He's a wonderful author, and he talks about how anxiety is not a sinful thing. It is an emotion that we experience, but not for us to paralyze us. And he uses an acrostic, which I have incorporated into this time in my life, and it's called CALM. And it's taken from a scripture in Philippians 4, verses 6-8, where it talks about the C stands for celebrate God. And then the A stands for ask him for help. Ask him for help. When we celebrate him, we need to know the character of God, and we only know that through his word. And that's what we do daily, is try to find out more about the character of God. And then the L is for leave it in his hands, surrender it. And I know that's easier to say when I have food, I have toilet paper, I have those essential needs, but leave it in his hand with thanksgiving, knowing that he will try to make good out of all of this. And M is for meditating. Meditate on the things that you find that are good, pure, noble, praiseworthy. And I mean, we look out and we think, oh, there isn't anything. But if you look out and see our beautiful creation that God created, if you believe he created that, and it is something we can be thankful for our families, thankful that we have technology, thankful that we can be together in the little things that you can, because when you're praising, it doesn't give you much time to focus on anxiety and fear. And so I'm grateful both of us have talked about, we really do not have fear because of the hope we have that to know this is just a temporary situation where in a blink of an eye, we're going to spend eternity with our creator God.
Wow. Thank you.
She's my cheerleader.
Well, let's
preachy.
No, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your heart, your like hot off the press, what you're thinking about. It's a gift. It's a gift. Well, as we wrap up, I'm going to use the M, the meditate, and invite those that are watching to really lean in and take a moment and kind of have the stories, the words, what you felt from my beloved Sue and Nana, from their hearts, their stories, and just kind of as if you're watching a movie, kind of roll through your imagination. Allow your mind to set on one thing that they shared that is capturing your attention. And the invitation is kind of in this meditation to allow a seed to be planted in your heart that is meant for you. And we do this because I do believe that they are deeply inspirational and encouraging sisters. And my hope is that inspiration and encouragement has some tangibleness for those that are watching, that it just gets into the fabric of your day and makes you feel a little bit of clarity, a little bit of companionship, whatever is meant for you. So just take a moment and consider what has captured your attention the most, and attach a kind of an action to that. I call it inspired action. Do you want to think anew? Do you want to have a new practice for how you start or how you end your day, inspired by Sue and Nana? What's your connection with your community like, even in these days of quarantine? Is there some way you can drive outside someone's house and sing a song? I don't know. Like, there's just so many things of what they shared that that bring tears to my eyes and that inspire me, because I know I know the source of it is just so much love from you guys. So please take some time, y'all that are watching, to really connect that inspired action with these two soul sisters. And please also take some encouragement. Our hope is that as you heard, your faith journey may be different, it may be the same, but we just hope that you feel hope in their stories, so that if your heart is broken, you feel a little bit of healing making its way into your broken heart. If you've hopped on this video a little bit low in hope, we hope you have a little or a bunch more. And we really hope that you feel that you're not alone. If you came onto this feeling a little disconnected or isolated, may you feel loved and connected. So, Sue and Nana, before we wrap up, I would love for each of you to share one last word. Consider it one more seed, a seed of a story from Nana and Sue each. What would you like to share? Either inspiration, just something that came to you in a flash that you'd like to leave us all with.
I was in CBS Bible study for several years. And before we started, my leader said, write down what you really feel about the Father. And so I said, okay, and we all did. And she said, I'm going to call on you first, Carol. And I said, okay. And she said, what'd you write down? And I said, my dad. And she said, well, that isn't quite what I meant. And I said, but do you know what? I figure if God's anywhere like my dad, I'll always be real happy and joyous. And she said, I never heard anybody say that before. And I said, I feel he's a great man.
Thank you. How about you, Sue?
Well, I would just leave with this thought: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and that you would love others as you love yourself, and that you would laugh a lot.
It's a lot of L's. I love it. I love it. Love and laughter. Well, you guys are a picture of all of that. And thank you for being who you are, and then sharing your stories just so openly and beautifully today. It is a blessing. And may you too continue to stay healthy. And can't wait to be with you in person again.
Yeah.
That's gonna be good. Get Micah there for a three-day pajama party.
That's right. That's right.
True.
But I love you so much. Thank you for sharing. And to those of you watching, Sue and Nana and I, our hearts are with you. Our blessings, our prayers are with you. May you feel so loved. May you belong. May you claim that we belong to each other. And may we all stand tall and light up the world together. Love you guys. Bye.
Wonderful.
I love
Sarah. Lovely, honey. Thank you.